Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. How's everybody tonight?
Not all speak up at one time. I'm doing good.
I'm great.
Yeah.
Doing good. Doing a little spring cleaning, but I'm doing good.
Yeah,
Hey, I finally can say I'm officially in freedom. I am not an Illinois resident anymore.
Good man. Kind of boatload of money doing it too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm back, folks. Like it or not, I'm back. Sorry about the absence.
He just couldn't see coming in.
Yep.
Yeah. Remember, John Super made us warned us to behave ourselves.
Yeah, so you can't flip me off anymore.
Want to bet?
Well, you know, the funny thing is that was me that was giving the double bird.
Yeah, it was. That's why he said.
So out of, I don't know what episode it was, but out of all of the screenshots that YouTube could have done for the posting, I'm giving the double bird.
Probably at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. So, yeah, out of all of the screenshots it could have taken for posting in the reloading room. Oops.
Yep. Hey, I'm gonna throw a shout out there right quick. Andy79 Z28. You are the man, sir. You just gave me a great idea because I could do the same thing.
I know that's.
If you want to know, look at the show notes at the live 150, 145, 1 minute 45 seconds. Anyway.
So what's everybody up to? Anything else? Anybody do anything exciting?
I still have my 22 subsonic ammo.
Did you shoot
Actually,
it?
No, I didn't because I wasn't allowed outside in the bright sunlight.
Makes sense.
Like you said, I couldn't see coming in.
Yep.
Guys, what Mike and I are joking about is I had to have a little bit of surgery on my eyelids, not my eyeballs, my eyelids. Wow. So I'm doing a lot better now.
Good. I do have brass in the dehydrator drying right now, so
nice.
Good on you.
So Nick left some brass behind, so I'm using it up.
What'd I leave?
I'm kidding.
I'm like, what'd I leave? I thought most of my stuff I put in boxes.
Nick's like, son of a
son of a gun.
Oh, he left something there, but not much because Ray is sitting there going, the grocery bill's going down by about 50% now.
He was on his own, so I can't complain.
Yeah, he was. He was living separate from mom and dad.
Yeah, but mothers are always the same way. Yeah. Son comes over, they get fed.
Oh, yeah. But we would go over Nick's, and he'd cook for us, so I can't complain. Well. And he's a good cook.
Yeah, he is. So, for those who have been in pop around in Discord, one of the chats, Ken, who's Swinging Hammer Creations, has been talking about his brass and some issues he's having with his brass. And so I kind of wanted to show off. He dropped off a couple pieces. So first and foremost, take a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we dive in. So, so now I actually have pieces of brass to show incipient case head separation.
Yeah. Well, he did a little measuring today to find out on
might have an issue.
Well, yeah. He's just getting according to Sammy specs, it's supposed to be 1.190, and the brass that he's getting factory loaded is 1.8. Let's see where I'm got.
It's 6 arc for those who are wondering.
1.1810, but fired brass is 1.1955. Okay,
15,000 is a big stretch.
big stretch. Big stretch. Now, is it the ammunition's problem, or is it the barrel problem? Now, I'm pretty sure when I look at the specs on that, but we don't have a go no go gauge where we can actually tell and measure what's what. So we're dealing with brass, which is not the same. I mean, it doesn't give you the exact same measurements.
Yeah, because I've got 2 pieces of his brass here. One's 149 and one's 147.
Uh-huh.
Are those factory fired or those reloaded?
These are reloads. And then 1476. I have 5 of his pieces here.
You're measuring the length of the case, not the shoulder, right?
Right.
We're measuring off the shoulder to see what the setback is.
Yeah.
Coming from there, and we're looking to sit there and say.
Yeah, and he said some of his setback wasn't consistent.
Right. So, but he's giving me a fired piece of brass is 1.195, and we're sitting there looking at 1.181, and you get 15 thousandths, and that's a long way to go. And if the factory brass is coming out that short and then going into a chamber, and then going that long, that's a big stretch, and that's what's going to cause his problems with his cases.
Paul, are you
Yeah.
going by semi specs or the numbers you're reading off? I'm getting lost in all the details because I don't have it in front of me. What I'm trying to ask you is this semi specs on the ammo or on the brass or on the chamber?
First off, we can't measure the chamber.
Right.
Okay, we don't have a go no go gauge.
Right, I got you.
So all we can do is measure what the fired brass is,
right,
and what the new brass is.
Right.
Okay, this is the unfired brass is what it's telling me, and the 15 thousandths is the difference.
Right.
All right. So that's all I can say on what we're dealing with right now.
Okay. My question still stands. You don't hear an answer yet. Maybe I'm being impudent. And I don't mean to be. Has anything met semi specs?
Can't tell because without an actual go or no go gauge, I can't measure SAMI specs in a chamber.
Right, okay. I understand that.
Just can't do it. I mean,
number one, Paul, you don't have the firearm in front of you. I know that.
Whereas, go and no go gauges are made out of steel, so they don't move.
No, they don't.
Unless you get them too hot or too cold or whatever. But the idea would be for him to strip his bolt. In other words, take the ejector out of it, take the extractor off of it, and he's shooting it out of an AR-15, and strip the bolt completely, take the firing pin out, run it down, and see if a no-go closes. If it doesn't, then we take a go gauge and we start adding Scotch tape on, and we build it up until we see where we're at.
Okay.
And then at the same time, we can take a go gauge, measure it precisely as we can with our calipers, and our Hornady gauge comparator, and then measure a piece of brass and to see what the actual differences are between the two.
I follow all that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a problem. This is what we're trying to solve. A problem is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So
I just didn't know if you didn't. I just couldn't hear Sammy involved in all that.
Oh, I mean, I looked up Sammy numbers and everything else, but if I had something that I could actually measure Sammy with, a comparator is not a Sammy specific tool. The Short Action Customs makes a better one, and Sinclair make better ones, so you could work that way. Because they take and involve the whole angle of the shoulder. So if it's a 20-degree shoulder, a 30-degree shoulder, that's what the actual gauge would have on it. So you would have a point then to measure off of.
Thank you.
Yep.
So Ron Britt's the Facebook user that said looks like his chamber is longer than his die setup. So
no, he only set in his actual brass back 2000s.
Yeah,
that's all, because we measured that, and he's giving me the numbers there. So it's not that, it's that initial stretch that he has. Okay. And then that 2000s every time you go after it is going to work, and normal is going to normally work the brass back, more and more. So, and you cannot go in there and anneal that far down the case.
Oh, God, no.
So
you'll be blowing primers out left and right.
Yep. So, and right now it is dealing strictly with Hornady brass. So, again, unless I could figure out where it sits and everything else, 6,000ths is about the most you're going to find. You should find with factory brass from the chamber.
Yeah.
That's about average. It's a little high on average.
Right. But 14,000, no way.
No, I agree. That's too long.
Yeah.
Going to damage something.
Right. And as Mike has his brass there, you can see the rings forming and just above the case web. And when he puts his borescope down in there, you can see the thinning of the brass down at the again at the case web, and just so.
And he said he's had the same issue. Andy 79Z28 said he's had the same issue with 300 blackout range pickup, but short after being fired. So I just make my own. So not quite so easy to do with six arc. So, but
he could do it. I mean, he could use 6.5 Grendel brass.
Yeah.
He could use, if he can get a hold of him, 220 Russian brass. You could make your own out of that.
Is 220 Russian the parent case?
Yeah, basically, yes.
Okay.
Doesn't 220 Swift fit in there somewhere also, Paul?
No, case head's too big on 220 Swift.
Okay.
My memory. Yeah, 220 Russian is what you're thinking.
Yeah, okay.
6mm PPC, that kind of stuff,
It kind of reminds me of 223 WSSM. Just not quite so fat.
Yeah, I'd have to check, but I know that 220 Russian is the parent case, and it can be made from that, but you'd have to have a number of dies and mandrels to one expand it up,
Yeah.
two big enough so he could put another shoulder on it, and then fire it to blow it out, and then go from there.
Going by what we know, is he seeing any signs of that after the initial firing of brass? Or is it all after a reload?
From what I understand, he sees it after the first reload.
After the first reload, okay.
Right.
So
I know I'm off the top of my head. I know from Johnny's reloading bitch, he used conforming the brass 6.5 Grindle, 220 Russian, I believe 7.62 by 39 is what he used.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
So if you're not seeing it after the first firing, I would think it's got to be die related.
No. If you're getting brass that's that short for the first firing, that's where you're getting it.
Okay.
The dies are not gonna. You're not pushing the shoulder back that far. You're only pushing the shoulder back
2000s.
So, and he's measuring the cases to make sure.
Okay.
So
Just think a sloppy chamber, maybe.
Could be a sloppy chamber. Could be.
That's kind of if it's the shoulder that's the issue. That's what I'm wondering. Is this when they cut it? Did it not?
And it's just it's the first firing isn't enough to stretch it far enough.
Yeah.
Or weaken it, I should say. But the second firing is enough. Is that what you're thinking, Paul?
Yeah, I'm thinking he set it back. It's you got 14 thou. You get it, then it stretches again 2 thou. Now you're at 16. Okay, and by the time you're the third firing, you're at 18 or 20. That's it.
Yeah.
He's getting 3 firings on the case.
I'm beginning to wonder if it isn't the bolt itself fitting in the way it fits into the lock up into the chamber.
No,
maybe it's cut too deep.
It's an AR.
It's an AR. We're not getting any ejector swipe. We're not getting any burrs on the edges of the case.
I'm talking about the cut inside.
Yeah,
we'd get face itself.
We'd get an ejector swipe.
Mm-hmm.
Is what we would get first thing to show on an AR with.
Yeah, you're not getting the full lock in. Yeah,
right. We're not getting the full lock in.
The jump back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's telling me. It's one of maybe a few things. It's when the way they cut the chamber or the shoulder portion of the chamber, the throat. It's all, and we see that in the milsurps. A lot of the milsurps, you won't notice on your first firing a factory. It's maybe your second, if not for sure your third. You'll see it go wrong.
But then again, the same thing could be with either long chamber, okay, or short brass.
Yeah,
one of the two. And right now, if I take the chamber dimensions that I get from Sammy, which is 1.191, okay, 0, add 6,000 to it, I'm still pretty good, okay. Because he's at 11955, so I'm still good at from what I'm reading without having actual hard numbers. So
do we know, is this a factory built gun or did he build it himself?
No, factory built gun.
Factory built.
Mm-hmm. So
interesting.
Leaning towards the brass being short, again, can't I, do the best I can as far as to tell you, how I think it is and everything else. And I haven't handled anything other than the pictures I've seen on the screen and what Mike has shown us. And that's,
Now, this is my kind of internal little gunsmith. Would Safe in the chamber tell us anything that we might need to know?
no.
I wasn't sure. I was just kind of thinking maybe that would show us where something could go wrong.
No. The only thing that can tell us one way or the other is going to be a go and no-go gauge, and maybe a field gauge, okay? So,
yeah.
And so just so people understand that a bolt can close on a no-go gauge, okay? It can go, okay? But if it's a field gauge, it better not shut on a field gauge. And that way everybody has an understanding of a little bit of gunsmithing on that.
So if it can shut on a no-go gauge, how is that helpful?
If it can shut, it should be very difficult, okay? Very hard.
So like a semi-auto theoretically should not.
Right.
Unless you're beating on the forward assist.
Right. But a field gauge, if it drops a field gauge in there and it closes,
you got issues.
You got issues.
Time to go to the shop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Little technical question for you guys. Are you getting a flow? Are you getting comment on your feed on the comments?
No.
Okay, I'm getting a feed on the comments on over on YouTube. Well, we're way behind.
Andy's the last one I see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah, we're clear down to the real Second Amendment Kyle. We're way behind. Yeah, we
Okay.
So I just typed and it let me type, so that's something.
Yeah.
But
Mine just jumped up. Yeah.
Yeah, by 4. We got Mike's comment.
I don't know, let me refresh my page and see.
You'll lose. Okay, never mind.
I'll be back.
Yep. It might have something to do. Mike, I just realized something. It might have something to do with the fact I signed in YouTube as Reloading Podcast. Accidentally. No. Well, I switched. Normally I switch to Jim Fleming after I pull the Gmail code on StreamYard. But I forgot to switch to back to Jim Fleming when I open up the YouTube channel.
Yeah, no, that shouldn't have made a difference because it doesn't affect StreamYard.
Okay.
Yeah, I just see up to Mike, and that's it at 7:28.
And we got 4 quadcasts, 4
So I just refreshed and I see everything now.
Then I'll do it too.
All right, refresh. It looks like.
Go slowly.
Ding.
I'm going to stay here till they come back, and then I'll refresh, and we'll do the same thing.
I is back. Yep, got feed now.
Yeah, as long as it stays that way. So we'll see. Real Second Amendment, Kyle, top chat to live chats only in YouTube, not on the StreamYard that we're looking at. So,
going back to that problem, the only way to really adjust headspace in an AR, I guess you could try to change the bolt, see if that's it, or what on an AR. What's the part that goes on the end of the barrel? the barrel's actually 2 pieces. The name's blanking on me.
Talking about spacer washer.
No, there's a you got the barrel, then there's the piece that's actually got the locking lugs in it.
Oh, I just can't think of it either off the top of my head. Oh my gosh. The
Factory
extension.
normally
The barrel extension.
barrel
Barrel
extension.
extension. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, either that's out of spec, or the notch in the receiver itself's cut short, which would keep the shoulders out.
How much do you want to bet it's brass?
Well, that's where I'd start.
Well, it is Hornady, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's already, yeah.
So
I didn't
yeah,
want to take that hit, but yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
No.
It's still not keeping up to date.
well, this
Start the cheapest thing and work from there.
Well, sure. That's
Yeah.
what I would do, and it's but I would be I'd be having difficulties with either way, and knowing that I'm going to get three reloads out of $1 a piece brass.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm like you. I'd buy some headspace gauges and see what that says, and then go from there.
Go rent them. I mean, just go rent them.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. And it's not like you're shooting 308 brass and you're shooting an M1A where you're gonna give it 3 reloads and you're gonna let it lay. Okay, I mean that's what I do with an M1A. Fire it 3 times and that's it. The brass is done.
yeah, but that's because of denting it. So
Well, that's in lots of things. I mean,
FALs,
yeah,
Galils.
you want lots of free free headspace in the damn thing, so everything works smoothly.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Dad, your alarm's going off on your phone.
No, it ain't.
Yes, it is.
It's in my pocket.
I can still hear it.
all right, this is going to be a fun day today.
So I've got on my other screen, I've got the actual YouTube feed up, so I can keep track of chats.
Okay.
So
Thomas Peterson is saying that he had the same problem with Hornady brass and 6.5 Grendel. Okay. Paul Loud, Hornady usually comes up short.
Yep. And I've reached out to the one nice thing about StreamYard is they're actually really nice about customer support. So like I'm
Okay.
chatting with them right now.
All right. So that's that one. The ball powder. Ball powder. What do we know about ball powder, Jim?
It's round.
It's great. And you're trying to build things up with nitroglycerin and nitrocellulose.
Oh, I like the nitroglycerin part. That's the fun part.
Yeah, I've had that, and trust me, it creates a headache like you wouldn't believe. God, dog. You have too, I just realized, Mr. Nelson. One time I was in the hospital, and I told him, I said, you don't cut off this nitroglycerin feed, I will. I meant I was going to remove the IV out of my arm. They called me belligerent. I said, try the headache.
I just tell them next time, just hang a bottle of good rum instead.
You bet.
There you go.
95 proof.
That's right.
Cracking.
That's right.
Anyway. Yeah, I've got feed now. Paul, I love this comment. It's flammable.
Yeah. Yeah. Ball powder.
Double baseball powder.
Thanks
Double
for stating the
baseball.
obvious there, Paul.
the how many people use it here,
I like it. I like it quite a bit.
Nick?
I use it from
I
time
bought
to time.
64 pounds of it one time. I
You
still
know,
use
ball
it.
powder?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use it.
Yep.
How about you,
My-
Mike? You a user? He's a user.
Let's see. I got some Win 748 up there.
He's a junkie.
HP.
Yep.
I think there's some other stuff up there too.
Probably an H bottle HP 38 also.
There's some.
W296 too.
Yeah, There's some WW296 up there.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
H-
It feeds like a dream. Okay, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, I've used a little bit of it over the years.
But in your long guns, you prefer that nasty old stick powder, don't you?
Yeah, especially I used to be able to use in 22-250 a lot of 4320.
Ooh, that would be good and fast.
It's good, and it's a stick powder.
Yes, sir.
But I switched over to 760 because it would fill a case almost to the top, and I could put a 55 grain bullet on it. And as long as I kept it cool and not out in the 90-degree heat, it was fine. So, yes, I kept my bullets in a cooler, guys, so they worked well.
He actually meant cartridges, folks, not bullets.
Yep.
He didn't reload in the field.
The bullettos, yes, the cartridge brass and everything, the whole plastic case in a cooler.
Yes, sir.
For some for my blow it off and defensive loads in 223, I'm a user of ball powder, a big user, and a junkie, A2230 and 25 grains behind a 69 grain match bullet, and that's my pest removal load.
Paul, I appreciate the fact you understand. I'm just giving you a hard time. We both use both powders. We like both powders. And nobody kicked Paul out. Nobody kicked Paul out. My hands are down here by my side. I can't even touch a mouse. Paul's having ISP trouble.
Yep, little bit. Sorry, guys.
Hi, welcome back. Did
Yeah,
you have a nice trip?
yeah, it was a good.
Rough
trip.
fall.
One of the things they're talking about in chat, Thomas Peterson said H110 is the best, and then Loud said, you mean W296, and literally they are the same powder, just two different packages.
Yeah.
There's one more, and I don't remember what it is. We've said it quite a few times over the years in the podcast. So,
yeah. Running with scissors, 2520. Yeah.
Isn't that what I was loading with my 20? Yeah, that's what I'm loading my 223 with.
2520 is, you got to be careful with that. Some lots run great, other lots with it, keep it away. So
why?
It just all over the place. It's just not stable as far as the ESs and SDs. It just runs weird. D-Dub D37 H380 goes all the way, for why is it called 380? Anybody know?
Probably created for the caliber.
No, 380 was H380 was for Hodgdon's 22-250 load, 38 grains of H380, and a 50 grain bullet in the 22-250. So then you got H414, and if I go to Alliant, we got Varmint. How's that for a ball powder? Lots of ball powders out there. What? Why do we like them and why do we not like them?
Well, I like them because they're excellent metering and consistent metering.
That's right.
That's the biggest thing. Is
Yep.
I don't have to worry when I'm running my 550 over here that it's not getting all of the charge in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's that volume is only taking part of a stick, and then I'm getting the stick chopped off. I don't have to worry about that with the ball powder.
Plus, it flows through the
Everything.
the powder drop without a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no ridging inside down in that powder drop, especially with 223. You know, you're trying to get some of them long sticks of
Right?
4198 down that little 22 caliber hole,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it flows through the powder meters without a problem. It measures well through almost all the powder meters.
Yeah.
As far as consistency goes, if you're consistent in your use of the meter, it's going to give you plus or minus two, a tenth of a grain. If you're so that means 2/10 of a grain, guys. One up, one down. So we go that way, and which should keep you in most in most nodes, good shooting nodes. If your node is bigger than 3/10 of a grain or smaller than 3/10 of a grain, it might not be a node.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Bad part of ball powder.
It can leak.
Yeah, it can leak. Anything else?
Well, like somebody said, Six Pack Shooter said something to the effect that I hate the migration of ball powder. He likes small flake or flattened disc, but some of the best options are ball powders.
Pan Jockey just said double charge is an issue sometimes, depending. Also, case fill.
Yeah.
Is an issue.
I've experienced the temperature sensitive.
There you go. Temperature sensitive. It's also hotter inside your gun. In other words, being nitrocellulose and nitroglycerin, when it burns, it's a lot hotter than a single base nitrocellulose powder. It's because you're getting the two thermal reactions. So you can burn a barrel out faster with a ball powder.
Okay.
So, but leaking out of some of the powder measures, yeah, it happens. Somehow or another, it seems to migrate around the reloading bench for some reason.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing up bore erosion. I forgot that one because it's like basically the particles of burning powder coming out the chamber are like little grains of sand that are on fire.
That's right.
He said little grains of sand. Fire.
Yeah, Mike. I'm sure you've already discussed your situation.
Yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But that was green dot, so it was a flake powder, not a ball powder. Six Pack Project said top strap cutting and forcing cone erosion seem more prevalent with ball.
Yep.
Thomas Peterson said, if you forget to close the drain, it runs out all over your bench faster. This is true. Hey, but that's a bonus because it empties out of you can empty your powder hopper quicker.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And Idaho Rogers, yes, the new Stayball powders are questionable. We haven't gotten enough data out of them as shooters as we want. I still question temperature sensitivity compared to the more used and reported on stick powders. I mean, and I'm gonna use 2 stick powders in relationships here. Varget, okay, very, very temperature insensitive,
Mm-hmm.
not a problem. I go to RL15, which says right on there, very insensitive to temperatures,
Mm-hmm.
and bingo, it moves a lot. In fact, it moves so much that the U.S. government stopped using it in their match loads, and went to another powder that they haven't told us what it is, but because of they were having problems in Afghanistan and Iraq with the heat.
Well, one of the good things I like about stick powder is, of course, when I hand load my 308, 270, 280 cartridges, when I hand load those cartridges, I usually go about half a grain under load. And then I just trickle right down to the exact number I want.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could do that with ball powder, but I like the fact that my stick powder can be made to be pretty doggone consistent.
Yeah. Well, ball powder though, you can, if you're not within a tenth of a grain either side of your load, you're having problems throwing a good charge.
Yes, sir. You're right.
You know, so you know, I look at that, and you know, consistency is everything, and the more consistent you are in handling your powder measures, and I don't care what kind they are, Lee, RCBS, Hornady, Redding, Forester, Harles, Dillon. The more consistent you are in dealing with in its operation, the more consistent you're going to get in powder drops, period, and especially with ball powders.
I did say one thing about leakage in ball powders. That's one thing I've never had with a ball powder is out of my RCBS Uniflow. What I was talking about is with the horror stories I've heard in the reloading room in the podcast group from other people that have used their Lee powder measures, which the tolerances are more loose, to be kind, to define it in the kindest terms possible. Then they're getting a lot of leakage.
You are being very kind as far as that goes. Yes.
It depends
Yes,
on which
Mike.
the powder measure is, but if it's the auto disc, yeah, they suck. Auto disc throws powder everywhere. Auto drums, I haven't had or my actual powder measurer that comes like with the startup kit, not had an issue. So,
Well, I wouldn't know because I've never used a Lee powder measure. I've only used.
and I was throwing lots of Win 748 with that. So,
Okay.
but I suppose probably.
Again, Paul's having issues with his ISP. Yay, he's back.
6-pack projects that I can typically get stick powder to within 0.15 of a grain. So,
Oh, he's got a measure that can measure down that far, huh?
well, so do you.
Well, I go 2/10, so 2, 4, 6, 8.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I
You mean
don't have
you go down to hundreds of grain, Paul.
right 2/100 of a grain. Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then go from there. I can't get the single hundreds. I got to go by 200ths, but that's good if he can get that.
Well, I can do that too with my procedure for hand loading when I'm setting up. Is I dump 10 charges. If I want 1.5 grains, I dump 10 charges. That 10 charges should weigh 15 grains.
Right.
I keep tweaking my adjustment until I get exactly 15 grains, not 15.2, not 15.5, but 15 grains for 10 charges on average.
He's
So I'm
talking
saying-
15, he's talking 1500ths.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But if you drop 15 grains and 10
I
charges,
should have in 10 charges. But
yeah.
all I'm trying to say is, Paul, if I get 15.1 grains out of a 10 charge, I know I'm
Right.
about 100th too heavy.
Okay.
So working it that way. You know, I thought about this, thought of this the first day you talked about your powder measure going down to 200ths of a grain.
Uh-huh.
I thought, man, that is some fine measurement.
Can sit down and measure individual kernels of powder.
Yes, sir. I've actually measured brass chips from trimming.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much the tiniest little pinch, one chip of brass has enough weight to be measured on my RCBS 1010.
Yep. And some scales, and I'll be honest with you, can have up to 8 granules of powder in there and not show.
Yep.
So
You know, you're also talking. He's talking about stick powders too.
Yeah.
Not 8 granules of ball powder.
not balls.
That's way
Not
small.
little-
Way too
them
small.
little.
Yep. Froze up again, Paul.
Yeah, I know. I'm on Wi-Fi here, and I'm not as fast as I am back home. So,
No. Six Pack Project says what scale doesn't get to hundredths. Most scales don't go to hundredths. My
We're talking-
teledropper doesn't. My Lyman number 6 doesn't. The most of your digital scales don't go to.
Yeah, but anything under $300 won't.
No,
Yep.
and your beam scales won't.
Yeah.
They'll
Yep.
go to tenths, but not hundredths. So anyway,
That would be 0.010 tenths of a grain.
yeah.
I'm
So,
sorry, I'm wrong. 0.10. That's tenths of a grain.
yeah. Running with scissors said regarding stay ball, have loaded close to max with the 6.5 version, and I've had no issues during hot August month down here in South Carolina. Our deer season starts early. I wish our deer season started.
Running with scissors, we're going to have to get together and share a soft drink. Contact me outside of the channel, the podcast, if you don't mind, sir.
So
My email address isn't that hard to find.
if you can't find his, just send reloadingpodcast@gmail.com and he'll get it there. So
Or Discord. If you're on Discord, Running with Scissors, contact me over there.
Fui. Ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Ding.
We'll keep adding you, Paul. Just stay with us.
So
Yeah,
Six Pack Project said 0.15 is 1.5 tenths on variation, plus or minus is 3 tenths of a grain, guys.
you can measure 3/10 on most scales.
Yeah, you
But-
can't measure 1500ths.
I think
can
what he's
measure
talking
1/10.
about, what I think you talk about is the graduations on the left end of the scale, the beam.
Yeah,
In between would be a half. You could see a half of a tenth of grain in there. That's what 6-pack
allegedly,
talking about. Yeah.
potentially, but not
Well,
reliability.
with Paul's hair fine wire trick, that would work.
Yeah.
What else?
No, because it's a ridge. You'd have to try and get it to balance there, and it's not guaranteed that it's actual half of a tenth.
No,
Yeah, I think Jim's has got like a bell, a cylinder that he rolls on
correct.
his, which is what I have. Yours got ridges that run on it. Everybody
Yeah.
has something a little different,
Yeah, that's
And
a 505.
and maybe he's got a 302 or a 304 where it's got a dial, and he can sit down and get in between on the dial on there. So
Yeah, on this 1005, there's no way I'm doing that.
Yeah.
because- So the ridge is too small.
What other advantage do we have with using nitrocellulose, Paul?
higher energy with nitrocellulose and nitroglycerin.
Wait a
Yeah,
second. Wait a second. Let's stop
Okay.
right there. With you, I'm trying to offer you some respect. You said you get higher temperatures from double
Right.
base powder because you've got a nitroglycerin explosion and a nitrocellulose
Right.
explosion going on at the same time, or combustion going on
Right.
at the same time. But yet, in a single base powder, you have nitroglycerin,
Nitrocellulose.
one ignition source,
Right.
one combustion source.
One combustion source. And
So
remember,
you're saying
guys,
we get more gas pressure out of nitrocellulose, all right?
we get a longer duration out of it. Okay. In other
That would
words,
generate more gas.
it's more gas. Okay. But with a double base powder, we're getting a larger dump of energy quicker.
Mhm.
Okay. So in other words, it will, because there's two things burning at the same time, and one is faster than the other, that will get one to start to go, and then the other one is moving, and we get a larger energy dump with a double base powder. Barring deterrents and other things that they put on the powder. So, I mean, it's like, has anybody ever seen a 16-inch naval gun kernel of powder?
Yes.
It's about the size of your thumb or a little bigger.
Yep.
Okay, and it's got a big hole through the center of it.
Yep.
And they put a coating on it to deter how fast it burns.
Yeah, a retardant on it.
Right. So they do that with other with all the powders. Okay.
Right.
So, but as a individual ball, as we look at ball powders, because of they are made of two different burning elements, that we get a higher energy dump out of a ball powder per weight volume.
So it's more efficient.
More efficient, yes.
Okay. So that's an
Now,
advantage.
It's an advantage. It goes well. I would, you can sit down and, let's say, a 17 Hornet, trying to load it with stick powders. Be a tough time.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Any
So-
17 caliber neck diameter.
Right. So yeah, we can sit down and
Tweezers.
Yep.
and move to a ball powder, and we have a much easier time. Same thing with 22 Hornet, the 204s, all of them, the 20 Tacticals, the 204 Ruger, everything in that. 223s. I mean, I would say that 80% of people loading 223 are loading it with a ball powder.
Paul, you mentioned 16-inch
Yeah.
ball stick powder, 16-inch naval gun stick powder. The
Right.
17 Remington caliber cartridge, the brass itself is shorter than a stick of 16-inch naval gun powder.
Yep. Yeah.
That's how big the damn stuff is. We're talking, guys. We're talking something you can put your thumb in, bigger than your thumb in diameter.
That's
Yeah.
it, and there's a big hole down the middle of it. So,
Yep.
but
They
it's
load
coated.
that 98 pounds at a time too, don't they?
What are they? I thought they were.
I think the bags are 98 pound.
Yeah, 3 bags at a time, and six bags total.
Good God Almighty!
They
No
drop
wonder this.
They drop 3 bags, push it, drop. Ram comes back, drop 3 more bags, and as each one goes, as the last one goes in, he puts a patch on the back of it so they can fire it.
Guys, let me tell you what. You want to have some fun with that? We're talking about a 16-inch broadside off of one of the battleships, USS Missouri. Paul, this is one you probably have not seen, but I hope you have. But look up Thunderstruck Battleship. Thunderstruck, the battleship version. Oh my God, it makes you laugh because they're firing broadsides from the Missouri for this video.
So there's a story about the Wisconsin from Korea, and they were doing support shelling, and they were using the 5-inchers, taking out North Korean batteries around a port for a landing. And one of the Korean batteries fired back at the Wisconsin and hit it. So they turned all 9 16-inchers and let loose a salvo
on one location.
One of the escorting destroyers blinked over, temper.
You'll see that kind of destruction on the video on YouTube. Thunderstruck Battleship.
I'm gonna have to watch that. So
I love it. I'm addicted to the song.
Somebody said, "What is the secondary explosive in the Moab? Isn't it an air fuel mixture?"
Yeah, Moab is an air fuel mixture.
Mother of all bombs. I love it.
Yep.
So what happens is that the bomb explodes first and disperses, and then the deterrent evaporates off, and then it fires again.
It's kaboom.
Yeah, it
gives time for the vapor cloud to expand.
Right.
Think of it like gasoline vapor, essentially, only a larger scale.
The explosive in it does not have any oxygen to burn. Okay, in other words, that's why it doesn't go off at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So as it disperses, it gets to the point where it gets enough oxygen in it so it can burn, and then when it burns, it's an instant flash and removes all the oxygen in that area.
They use it for clearing landing zones for helicopters. Instant landing zone, instant LZ.
We use daisy cutters that I remember for those, and those were set a little different. The mother of all bombs was used mostly to, it's only been dropped twice, if I remember right.
That was enough.
They used it to clear caves. Okay.
I know.
So, you use it, you drop it, it takes all the oxygen out of the caves and everything else. In Vietnam and other places, they used a daisy cutter, which they dropped out of a C-130, and it had a 16-foot firing pin on it. So, in other words, as it dropped, it would go through the jungle, hit. By the time it collapsed, it was level with the ground, and that was the completion of it to go off, then it would clear about a 200 to 300 foot circle, taking
Mhm.
everything down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you ever drive through McAllister, Oklahoma, they got the ammunition plant there where the Moab's made, and they've got one on display right outside the plant. Actually, right as you come into town.
I would love to see this. I would love to see the size of whatever they put into it.
That's
My God, I got big hands.
And there's one bigger than the Moab.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Father of all bombs.
Yeah, Russian.
Yeah, it's bigger.
Anyhow,
Yeah. We were talking about reloading. Now we're talking about blowing up the world, or at least clearing an LZ.
they're
Anyway.
related. They're related.
Yep.
There you got it.
All right,
Uh,
back to gunpowder. Which one burns cleaner, ball or
stick
stick?
powder burns cleaner.
And that's because of the dual base.
That's because of the double base. Yes, the nitroglycerin does not burn as cleanly as a nitrocellulose.
Okay.
It's funny because nitrocellulose is made by combining nitric acid with cotton. That's where the name nitrocellulose comes from. But yeah, that's right. Nitroglycerin is an explosive, but I don't know much about that.
Well, just think of it this way.
Watch War Wagon. You'll find out about nitroglycerin.
Yeah, and the inventor of nitroglycerin was also
Alfred, not Alfred, Nobel, Paul,
right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
Joseph Nobel.
Yep. Nobel. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was Alfred Nobel. I don't know.
Yeah.
They did Missed in History did an episode on him. It's pretty good.
He made something so frightening they wouldn't have wars anymore.
Yeah, that backfired on him.
So did Hiram Maxim.
Yeah, but they won't let us play with those toys anymore.
Thanks,
They
Capone.
will. Yeah, they will, but they're heavily taxed and seriously restricted.
Thanks, Reagan.
Yep. Thanks, Capone, and thanks, Reagan.
Yep. So
Yeah, I've started to use more double-based powders. Like I've been using a lot of Accurate 5744 recently, and I've been starting to really like it. So,
yeah.
like some of my best loads, I was doing like cast bullets for my 7.65 Argentine, and we were getting single digits, standard deviations, and like extreme spread in the low teens.
Nice.
So I was like, for a cast bullet, I was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
So
If you
Nice.
start getting in the ones and the twos, and you start seeing eights as your stream spreads, that's when you know you got it.
yeah,
Okay.
for that gun, that powder, that I'm not going to mess with it because it's a surplus gun. I'm not going to mess with it. It shot great, and it was cold outside that day. So
Question.
maybe in the summertime it might shoot better. I haven't had a chance to do that.
Yeah, okay, then I take it you haven't tested for group sizing.
Group size. Do you remember what we did, Dad, on that one day?
I don't remember.
It's been so while.
But I think if we play with the ladder test with that load, we might be able to get it down to what Paul's saying.
That might be something once I get a set up and a range over here I might start playing with. Especially with that Peruvian that Mike gave me.
Yeah.
Or sold me.
Traded you.
Yeah. Gave you, basically.
That thing is a tack driver. Ooh.
I'm going to cry now. Hey, Nick, what do you use for slugging barrels?
Usually a bullet that's a little bit bigger. Like, for instance, say 7.65 Argentines at 311. If my cast bullets are bigger, I'll slug that. If not, I try to find the closest round ball I can.
Yeah.
That's usually what's going to get me the closest. But if it's, say, a 30 cal, they make 30 cal round balls, but they're not great. I'll try to go use a standard cast bullet because usually a cast bolt's a little bit oversized, and that's going to allow me to slug. But
Okay.
we have not, that I can remember. I don't think we have not found a barrel that we have not been able to slug.
Because I gotta slug that number 4 Mark II.
Should be
Oh,
just-
he's got a really nice Enfield and 7.7 Jap mold.
I saw that.
Full lead Taco was cast in zinc ones the other day. So yeah, I saw that and I kind of want it now. But I got to slug the barrel on both guns to figure out before I do. So
That's I can also, even without slugging, how much does it eat the bullet? Like a standard bullet test. Does it eat all the way down to the case neck?
I don't know. I haven't tried.
Because if you eat all the way down, you know you're going to be at least 312, 313. If you got a little bit of room, you could probably go with the standard 311, 312. But yeah, it's always best to slug. Takes, what does it take? 20 minutes? So,
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll check Brownells and see if they got a slugging kit.
Where we were talking about that one time on here,
Let's look.
I can't remember what we were talking about.
How do you drive your slugs down through the bore?
Yeah, Paul Loud's got a fantastic idea in the chat, gang.
God. Oh God.
Loud, you are terrible, sir.
If it will even
Don't change
chamber.
the damn thing. Don't change the damn thing, Paul.
Yeah, it will. If you go to LFD research, you can see where they did that on slow-mo.
I've had it where I have not been able to change. I've done it once.
Yep.
I threw a 300 blackout magazine in my 5.56, pulled the charging handle back. It did not see, which thank goodness.
That's because your ogive of your bullet was larger
Mm-hmm.
than the. But some people have use a very shallow ogive on their 300 blackouts, and they end up getting them close enough to chamber,
Yeah.
or pushing the bullet back in.
Yeah.
And
I think, Dad, you were at the range with me that day when I did that. I was like, nope, that's never gonna happen again. We're gonna mark these magazines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely make them different colors.
go to the electrical store, get some different colored electrical tape.
That works.
Yeah,
Cheapest
yeah.
way to go,
Yeah.
too.
Put some of that flowered duct tape on your mags. That's the only reason you'll use them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, D-Dub D37. When you have a new powder and don't have any load data for it, how do you guys proceed for proper starting loads?
Well, the smart ass of me wants to say fill it up, slap a bullet in it, and pull the trigger, but that is not correct.
Don't do that at home, guys.
Don't do that, period, guys.
I would try to find wherever it's closest to on the burn rate chart, if that's even can be found, and then try to find where that close powder is being used in that charge, and then downgrade by a couple percent. That's gonna get you safe shooting it. And,
If you're going to do that, go down by 10%.
10%.
yeah.
Okay, from starting load.
Yes.
Okay. Starting load, reduce it 10%. Try it, and then go from there. All right.
D-Dub 37. D-Dub D37. What you need to get the name of it, you need to go back to where you bought it from, where you picked up, or whoever gave it to you. Yeah, you got to find a name for it. You got to find something that's close.
What powder is he looking at, or what does he
Exactly.
have?
I-
That's gonna.
I think he's just asking
as a generic question. Okay.
general question. Yes.
And like for instance, the new stay ball powders from was it Winchester?
Right.
They say they're equivalent to certain like Varget, Retumbo, and I think, and then I can't remember what the other one
Yeah.
was.
H1000. Yeah. And,
Nice thing about it, if they
yeah.
say they're close to that, use their data and like you said, downgrade by 10% from starting.
Whoa, ball powders are a little different.
That's true. It is
Little
extruded.
different game. Yes.
It's true. I didn't think about that.
Yes.
I
Ball
did not
powders
think
are
about that.
different gamey there, guys. If you're going to use a ball powder, look at what the ball powder close to it is going to be. Stick powders to stick powders, ball powders to ball powders. You're playing with a grenade there, any way you look at it. Okay, so
I agree on that one.
yeah, that's,
I don't mess with new powders. I stick to tried and true, really.
Thank you to our friend
yeah,
from Iceland. Put up a very wise comment.
yes. Return it. There you go.
And always consult the burn rate chart just to
Or
get
make
you-
it into fertilizer.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but who sells a powder with little to no data?
oh, there's lots of stuff like that. Jim, you buy surplus powder on the market,
Yep.
and it's set, and you got data for 223 or 308. Well, I want to use it in a 6mm Remington.
Okay.
Well, you might do that, but that's on you because the data I got from labeled on each can of the powder tells me it's similar to BLC2, but go with the 10% under minimum.
That
What-
WC 846.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking it's 844, but I could be wrong.
840. Yeah, 844 is 223. 846 is your 308.
Well, you get the point. Is
Yeah.
whatever is 26 grains per cartridge on BLC2, I better back down by at least 2.6 grains.
Okay.
And I found out for a fact loading it like BLC2 is not a good idea.
Now,
Few blocks.
as somebody who's gone through 100 pounds of 4831
Holy
IMR,
shit.
okay, well, I got a naval container with it, okay? So,
Wow.
yeah, that was a little bit, but it went through a whole lot of 300 Win Mags and quite a few other things. And it was a very good powder in 6mm Remington and 243 and 25-06 and 30-06. So it went through a lot of barrels.
Let's go back to DW D37's question. He says, yes, it's just a general question, but I'm working on a new Wildcat that has no load data for powders I currently have, so it's a different ballgame. Oh, that's on him.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with it, though. Let us know how it turns out.
Who designed the Wildcat? I can't see him. I gotta refresh again. So
He's on.
This
He's
is
on.
just
another
a general
screen.
question, but I'm working on a new Wildcat that has no load data for powders I currently have, so it's a different ballgame.
okay, so he's gonna need to use something along the lines of what's the computer program that they got out there, guys?
Quick load.
Quick load. All right, you're gonna have to go to Quick Load. You're going to have to give it its water capacity and the bore, the bore and everything else to it. Put those numbers in and see what it comes out as with using your powder. That is the smart way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it will work with Wildcats. So, and it will tell you if the powder won't work too. because sometimes powders are too fast for some wildcats. Sometimes they're too slow, and but you can deal with it and invest in what is it, $100 now or something like that, or $150 for quick load.
Good question.
You'd have to ask Trumbo. I know he has a legal copy of it.
Well, that's the only way you can get it now is on CD. They will not transfer it over. And but yeah,
DWD, what cartridge is it by chance?
2.4 GPC.
Oh, did he say what it is? Oh, there it is.
Renamed it 24 varmint. He downloaded Gordon's reloading tool and started playing with that.
That's what I would say. Gordon's is another good one.
yeah.
It's based off the 6.8 SPC neck down to 6mm bullet.
So the quick load is 139 pounds.
Yeah.
Dollars.
No,
Yeah.
pounds.
No, pounds.
Oh, comes out of UK then.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to be expensive.
No, it isn't that bad.
A pound is roughly $2. 1 pound sterling is roughly $2. Am I correct?
Yeah, but there's
No idea.
you know, they'll have a what do you call it in there, conversion for it when you go to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But to go on to what he was working with, the 224 excuse me, he's using a 224 in a 6.8 case. There is load data for that one somewhere around, and
And I was looking. There's actually a whole thread on AR15.com
on that.
Yeah. 24 varmint or the 24 GPC, that there's been guys that have been doing a lot of testing on it, and so.
And if you can sit down and say, here's the if you've got a load somewhere that's telling you that you're, a starting load somewhere with one powder, and you don't have that one, and it's still within the same burning rate, within 1 or 2 numbers, take it, reduce it down 10%, and start working up from there. But yes, Gordon's or or quick load, one of the two guys. If you're going to play with wildcats, you can't beat them because they'll give you some information that you just can't get.
Paul, you mentioned case capacity a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Is Lee's the only manual I know that gives you a case capacity, unless there's one out there I don't have.
No, not all of them give you a case capacity.
Yeah.
I get my case capacities because I measure mine and write it down.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can get a true case capacity. But you're right, because Lee uses CCs in a lot of their loadings, so they do give you a case volume, which is handy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Lee's book other than I just never been a fan of it.
Right.
There's a lot of books I'm not a fan of, but all of them are. Every book that's out there that's written on it is interesting in how they put together their loads.
Oh yeah, I consult every one I've got and kind of take an average to compare one to the other, and one's more conservative than another, and it's
and how they on how they're putting the loads together, what procedures they're using. Sierra gets in real deep where Hornady kind of glosses over some things. Burger is all about match bullets and everything. So we all have to sit down and read about everything. You get a little, you'll get a little bit about every book.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. I got books that are, 30 and 40 years old. I don't load out of them anymore, but I can sure look stuff up to see what was going on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I have Hodgdon books, guys, that go back and they list every powder that was made at the time. Okay, I mean IMRs, Hodgdon. When this was
Right.
before Hodgdon owned all of it, he published everything. Okay, everything that they could try, and some interesting things that they worked up. So, yeah, old books are really pretty interesting. So,
Mm-hmm.
so we covered ball powders. We covered new powders. And we
Stick powders too.
covered some stick powders. We haven't touched flake powders, which is good.
Just too flaky.
Yeah. Well, we sit down and the permanent use of bullseye goes into just fill the case and tap it down and stick a bullet on it.
Oh God! Don't do that at home, folks. Please don't do that at home. Nelson, shame on you, you dog.
I know.
The only
What?
flake powder I've played with is Western. I think it's Western True Blue.
Okay.
And that thing, it was what I need to use for the load for the 38 Smith & Wesson 3200 for my Webley, but it makes a mess. If you spill it, it's all over the place. And I would like to find something different, but when it's what they call for, it's kind of what you kind of have to use. So,
Well, don't spill it.
well, you try not to, but
It's
Why
hard
not?
to deal with because it's
well, and like when you're using an automatic powder dispenser, especially when Dad was over, he's like, are you sure that's right? I'm like, yeah, this is what it's calling for. It looks like nothing, but yeah, it's an interesting powder to play. Especially if you're not familiar with it, it is an interesting powder to work with.
Isn't Trail Boss a flake or a derivative of a flake? It's a high bulk powder.
It's a disc.
It's an unflattened disc.
It's a flattened disc with a hole in it. Is what you'll get out of Trail Boss, if you can ever find it. I don't think they're going to make it ever again, but
Good thing I got 2 bottles up there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go pick some up. Cabela's had it the other day.
It's a donut.
It's a very good bulky powder that I don't think you could put enough into a rifle case to other than make it go off normally. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's just the situation with it. You can load up a 45 Colt case to the top, seat a bullet on top of it, and you ain't gonna get enough pressure to go any more than what normal.
Yeah.
So, but then again, it's a good powder for some things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
45 Colt being a great example of what it's good for.
Yeah. So, we there's a lot of interesting powders out there, like Nick is using with with his 54, what is it, 5477?
5744, and it's been
744, excuse me. Yes.
and I can use it on probably 20 different surplus cartridges as of right now that that I know of. We go even more.
Yeah.
So
It was one of the original powders that was loaded in 223 for the military until they decided that they had to switch to a ball powder because it went through the machines faster.
Mhm.
Quick historical question for you, Nick.
Mhm.
The propellants they used to use in these old cartridges, is it possible they all use the same propellant? Which is why you're getting so much flexibility?
So there was really like that from what I've done research on, from pulling old projectiles and looking at, there weren't very many different types. A lot of it was where their burn rate is what was the big thing. I know, like a lot of the surplus 8mm you see is all square flake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far back that goes. I haven't pulled anything super old. But the big one is like, look at 303 Brit. They use cordite from
Right.
late 1880s, 1890s, all the way until the 50s, 60s. So
Yeah,
And
I've
all the
had some.
cartridges in between. All
If not
those
even-
cartridges in between.
yeah.
Which is why you're able to use the same propellant for most of those cartridges. I would
And
bet
that's
anything.
the nice thing about it. Now 5744 is not the cheapest powder in the world. It's about $43 a pound, but the versatility across the line, and not saying trust me, load data is almost universal across the line. You might have to adjust it a little bit here and there, but other than that, it's it's nice soft shooting. It's kind of like a trail boss in a way, but it's not in the it's very forgiving powder, enjoyable powder to use, and
In certain old cartridge guns, it's somewhat of a black powder. I don't
correct.
want to say substitute, but I mean it can
Mhm.
be used in lieu of. Because I know
Yeah.
West Covina Dodge, didn't he say
Yep,
he uses that?
Yep, that's what he's been using in his martini. I haven't dived into the martini smokeless loads yet, but I know a lot of guys are using that as a black powder substitute. But which I always thought that kind of is interesting. But knock on, hopefully they'd never discontinue that powder, or I better be bulking up buying a ton of it. But it's a very fun powder right now to be playing with loads of. So
I'm trying to remember. DuPont back in 1914, before we entered the war, the 30-06 was what? DuPont #1 or something like that was the powder that was being used. Had a burn rate somewhere close to 30-31. And then we progressed to the IMRs with 4859 or 4895, excuse me, 4895, and it we stuck with that powder for a long time in our small arms manufacturing.
A lot of match ammo was made with that powder.
A lot of regular ammo was made with
Yes,
that
sir.
powder.
Both.
They fought World War II with that powder.
Yes, sir.
And just so you know, that 100 pounds of 48 IMR 4831 that I got, that was pulled down out of 20 millimeters.
My God.
Okay.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was Accurate Arms was originally out of Wisconsin, and their job was to pull down powder and sell it. And they started, pulling down and selling, and finally got big enough where they were really offering a lot of different powders.
Well, let me ask you a question for everyone except Mr. Nelson. Please don't answer this, Paul. Are you guys aware of what IMR stands for in the context of what Paul just said about military cartridges?
Improved military something.
Improved military. Go ahead. Come on, Nick.
Oh, I just read it the other day. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Yep, it's
Mike?
improved military.
IMR. India Mike Romeo.
Isn't it improved military rifle?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
I knew you knew the answer, Paul, so that's why I asked you, please. Put a
I
cork
kept
in it.
shut. I
Thank you, sir. Good man.
So real quick, so I looked in my cast bullet handbook
Yes, sir.
on that 5744. I took 7mm Mauser, 3040 Craig, 303 British, and 7.62 by 54. So 4 right around the same. Your powder charge starting load is a difference of 1.5 between all of them.
Yep.
So it's a very universal powder. So
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So
Is that a ball or stick powder, Nick?
that's a double base stick. It's a double base.
Double base stick powder.
Oh my gosh, I haven't had a can open for a while of them.
it's a flake powder.
Yes, yeah, double. Yeah, been a long day.
That's all right. That's all right.
Tired.
Okay, well, wait, we have a question here. So, Springfield Arms 4570 that I would like to reload so my dad can shoot it once. It's original.
Oh, trapdoor. Okay,
Yeah.
that would be Dad. That's you.
Like it says, 4570. 70 grains of black powder.
Yeah, but the first and most important question is his last question. What is my first step to see if it's still safe to shoot? Take it to a gunsmith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing, take it to a gunsmith.
Well, on a trap doors, how the trap itself, how tight does the door snap to it?
Yep. If it locks in,
And there's supposed to be a little bit, just a little bit of wiggle. And I
Mhm.
know there's places out there tell you how much wiggle it's got, but if it's
Yeah.
extremely loose, I wouldn't shoot it.
yeah, because that'll blow that top cover open, and you'll have an issue at that point. And like a lot of people get confused. Oh, it's 4570. I can go to the store buy 4570.
Don't do that.
Just don't. You will die.
And there again, to be safe, I wouldn't even put 70 grains of black powder. Just you want to shoot it, let Dad shoot it. You know,
if you can find Trail Boss, that's the best powder to use for trapdoor loads.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know all of us agree on that. That's what trapdoors and Trail Boss are like.
Yeah.
They love each other.
Safety, guys.
Yeah.
Safety.
Yep. Especially those. I hate seeing somebody take an old gun like that out and first round it blows up. It just makes me cry, and it's like, ah.
Well,
It's
the
got
other thing is too, he might consider just making it a wall hanger.
Well, the best thing, look, he says trapdoor is good. I would take it to a gunsmith. That's the biggest thing, especially if you don't know what you're looking at.
but there again, be selective on what gunsmith you take it to, because
That's the whole key to the whole thing.
Yep.
Find a gunsmith that knows Springfields. That
Mhm.
knows Springfields.
yes,
I mean,
All you have to do is ask his gunsmith, do you know trapdoors?
no.
If he
you
says
don't-
no,
if he says no, he's an honest one. Oh
Yeah.
I can tell you. I don't know how many gunsmiths I've sit down and said, "Do you know a rifle?" Okay. Oh yeah, I know all about it. Okay.
Nick, when we shot your Snyder the first time, you know how those are. I mean, you're very leery. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
If you watch the video, my eyes are closed and I'm almost looking away.
Should have used a string.
I've done that before. I mean, it's
We have, but I look at it. What's going to happen is the breech was going to blow open. That would have been the only thing.
yeah.
Because it's an actual.
On a trap door, your lockup of that trap is the biggest concern
Yeah.
you got.
Yeah. So
And Paul's right. Even if it's loose with a Trail Boss load, you probably don't have anything to worry about.
yeah.
Well, actually, I was looking. Let me see, 4570 for the 1873. Where's it at? Yeah. You can do. Depends on what bullet weight you use. And nice thing that 5744 is also good powder. You can use that with it. And that's where a lot of the what they would call their accurate loads is using the 5744. So that's something to, especially if they don't make trail loss anymore. So
What is their
Smokeless
max
load.
load? Yeah. What's their pressure on that? 18,000.
for instance, 450 grain Lee mold,
Okay.
5744 pressures is 14.5.
Beginning load, starting load. That's it.
Yep.
Right
I
there.
wouldn't go over
That's your
that.
trapdoor load.
That's
Yep.
your trapdoor load. Yep. Don't mess with it.
And those are lead bullets.
I
Don't
lost
use that.
everybody. Okay.
No, don't use a
Don't
copper
use a-
bullet.
Yeah.
And nice thing about it with the trapdoor bullet, you can buy those about anywhere on the market.
Yeah.
You don't have to cast them yourselves. You can get a 45 caliber, 250 grain bullet about anywhere for a trapdoor.
But
Yep.
for normally you go buy a box of 500, you'll never probably shoot that many.
Buy
You
a
can probably
box.
get 100.
Buy a box of 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Take 25 of them, encase them in epoxy, so you can put them up on the shelf with the gun. Take the other 25, load them for your dad, shoot them, enjoy
There you
it,
go.
and save the cases. Put the cases up and save those because one day your dad's going to be gone, and you have a memory.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Funny you mention that, Paul. I got a picture of my dad shooting one of my trap doors. It's been about 5 or 6 years ago before he died. And it's probably one of the last pictures I have of my dad shooting a trap door.
What I tell you?
Yeah.
It's something that you can.
And it's the same thing. My dad takes photos whenever we're shooting together. He'll take a photo
Right.
of me shooting a new gun. It's one of those things, especially something that we both share that camaraderie with. It's so.
Exactly.
And Richard, I'm on the Facebook group. I'll send you a message if you got any questions. Not saying I know what to look at on your gun. If you have any questions, you can ask me. So
You
I'm
don't
open
know
to
it, you know who to pass it on to.
exactly. I wish that guy was still alive out in Nevada.
Yeah.
He could help you out. Unfortunately, he passed away. What was that, 5 years ago, Dad?
Yeah, something like that.
So
You could send him the serial number of your rifle, and he could tell you the history on who it was, what division it was issued to. What it was nice.
Vemjum said he hasn't seen Trail S for at least 4 years and no news from ADI making it anytime soon.
Yeah.
And he's in Aussie, so
yeah.
You would know.
If you see it on the shelves, guys, and you reload for older weapons, pick it up. Just pick it up. It's only I think it's only a half a pound for a jug. I mean, as far as the weight that goes into it. So you get 8 ounces, and it's so bulky it fits into a 1 pound jug. Take it, put it on your shelf. You'll have it whenever you need it for an emergency.
I think Cabela's had it here in KC, so I might drive by Cabela's tomorrow after work or tomorrow after work. Yeah.
So, same thing, 5744.
Because
Pick up a pound.
I saw a ton of it during the middle of right when what would have powders were on the shelves kind of disappeared.
Mhm.
My local shop back home was getting a lot of their stuff they'd ordered right before COVID, and Dad would even say 5744. They had a ton of it, and it was a normal price. So I was picking a ton of that up, and I've stocked up pretty good on it. But it's kind of disappeared here recently. So
Right.
hopefully they'll start getting that produced soon. So once I use what I have, I can kind of get stocked back up.
So,
This is slightly off topic, but it's on the topic of powder. How much powder do you guys store? You have to give me quantities, but is there a law how much powder you can have on hand?
never cared enough to check.
well,
That's a pretty deep subject.
Yeah.
I can tell you, no one ever questioned me with 100 pounds in one container.
Yeah.
Quick question for Richard, if he's still on. Are you on the podcast Facebook group? I would assume he is if he's watching on Facebook. So I'm not finding him on the group.
He might be in the reloading room. Because
Gentlemen, I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to call it a night.
we're about to wrap it up anyway.
Yeah. Good night, Jim.
Good night, y'all.
Richard
Good night.
said yes.
Yep. Good night, Jim.
Good night, y'all.
Hi,
Nick,
Gracie.
Nick, Richard said yes.
I
Come
saw
here,
it.
Gracie. Gracie, come here.
So
I know I can do. Let's see. Volume down.
Hey, Russ. I got Gracie on the show for you tonight. So
Paul, did I hear your wife got sick or went in the hospital?
yeah,
How's she doing?
she's improving.
Good, good.
She's improving. We dealing with her heart condition and myasthenia gravis, and there's no cure, but she lungs filled up with fluids, and we finally got them down, and she's coming home this week. So
that's promising. She's coming home then.
yeah, yep. So then I get to listen to her for
Uh-huh.
go get me this, go get me that, go get me this, go get me that.
Oh, I'm sure she did it for you.
Oh yeah.
You know you'll be happy to have her home. So
Yeah, somebody asked me on Discord today on how do they get all the guns they want, and I told them, I says, to make sure they're not married, they don't have any kids, okay, become a dealer on a drug on a good corner for drugs, okay, and or become a money launderer for a Don. That's some of the ways you can do it. Because you can never have too many toys, so it's hard.
yep.
Hey, Richard, send me an email at milsurpduo@gmail.com. Just how I have it in my name there. That at gmail.com. There's no space between Milsurp and Duo. Yeah, for some reason I still can't find you, but yeah, if you send me an email and if you got any questions, feel free to ask. If I don't know it, my dad might know it. If he doesn't know it, I know people that probably do. So
There you go. Networking,
There
baby.
you go. Yep.
I get asked questions daily on stuff. I got guys reaching out to me and on stuff, especially on my Milsurp Discord page. That's strictly just Milsurp guys. I'm one of the big reloaders over there, so those guys asking me stuff daily.
Idaho Rogers is in a cranky mood tonight. He said, "Is that a small dog or a large ugly cat about Gracie?" The Dachshund Red Healer mix, you putz.
Oh,
Cat. She'll come beat your ass. So I've taken her out rabbit hunting a couple times.
and
She's not a very good rabbit dog. She doesn't let me shoot him.
she gets them first, huh?
She gets him first.
Okay.
So,
Nothing wrong with that.
no, she can just straight fly, and she can turn on a dime. Oh, it's fun. It sucks that I don't get to shoot the rabbit, but God, it's fun watching her
Well, you know why they always use beagles to chase rabbits, right?
because they're just slow enough that they can't catch them.
Yeah, but they're there close enough to keep them moving.
Right.
They got short legs and they have a hard time getting over things, and rabbits go real fast, short distance, and by the time it stops and looks around, the dog is back where we're up on it, and it takes
Yep.
off again. So you push a rabbit too fast, it holds up.
Yep.
And down the hole it goes and hides.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, she is fun to watch work because she'll sit and sniff, and she's got that white tip on her tail, so you'll see that tail going like this is the white tip. Just the cutest little thing. Every once in a while, you see the head pop up, look around, back down she goes. And,
Yep.
but yeah, no, she's too fast. So I haven't taken her out again. Plus, she's starting to get. She's afraid of thunder, and I haven't taken her around guns in a while. So I'm pretty sure that she'd probably be gun shy now.
Oh,
So
you know how you fix that, right?
yeah, I've done it before.
With pots and pans?
Yep. I've got the other thing I've got is I've got a one of those nice wood garbage cans,
Oh, okay.
because our previous lab, Cody, loved to get into the garbage, so we had to get this really nice wood one so he couldn't get into it. So, but yeah, it makes a nice loud slamming noise when you drop it. So I do that. So, it's just the thunder she has an issue with during thunderstorms. So, but we got her a thunder shirt and she's good. So,
Yeah, I always taught them started them with pups as pots.
oh
and
yeah,
pans.
yeah, pots and pans, or I use
Yeah.
that when they're eating, make all sorts of
Yeah.
loud noises when they're eating and stuff. And yep. So, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm 0 for 3 on my hunting dogs, but hopefully the next one. So, but they're a hell of a
You-
family dog, so I don't
You're-
care.
In your lifetime, you're only allowed one really, really good hunting dog.
That's what I hear. So
You know,
I suppose I don't want it until I have time to actually enjoy it.
there you go.
So
There you go. You get one good hunting dog in your life, and everything else doesn't compare. So,
oh, Idaho Rogers updated. He said, but cute. So he asked if it was a small dog or a large ugly cat, but then he said it's cute. I suppose if it was a cat, it would be ugly, but I mean, no. Cats are assholes. I don't have cats. I had cats when I was a kid. I learned that lesson. No cats for me. It also helps that my wife's allergic to cats, so that really, really helps not having to worry about that problem.
be very, very quiet. Every kitty cat has got a perfect target right about right here.
If people knew how many you hear all these projects about feral cats and stuff, and people complaining. If they knew how many songbirds they eliminated every year,
Oh yeah,
but
Yeah.
So, the only problem with feral cats is where I live. A lot of people let their cats roam. So, but you know,
that's a feral cat. That's a feral cat. Sorry.
yeah.
As soon as it goes out the door, it's feral.
So, yeah, but they come. The ones I know of, it's out for a couple hours and then comes back. So it's not gone for days. So, but anyway, I digress. Anyway, I want to take time to thank Jake and Ryan over at Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co. Swing over, check them out. They make all sorts of cool stuff like this. This is the April patch of the month.
Trade
Ooh.
for eggs.
Yeah.
That's right. We'll trade for eggs. No, I'm not trading it for eggs. I want this. That's the Easter basket I want, baby. So.
Yep.
They got all sorts of other cool stuff there. They make custom stickers, all sorts of fun stuff. So, swing over, check them out. If you got a sticker idea, reach out to Jake and see what they say. So, they've been a long-time sponsor of the podcast, and we're just grateful. So, anybody got any shout-outs?
I got one. If anybody's in the St. Louis area this weekend, I will be over there
Cardinals suck.
for, well, not for the Cardinals. They do suck right now. I'll give you that one. But I have a
Hey,
World War
Chris,
II.
cut that out. I want that on a loop, please.
I have a World War II reenactment this weekend at Jefferson Barracks.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
World
So
War
if you're
III? Okay.
World War III, yeah. But
World War III practice.
yeah. But it's a cool event. It's one of my favorite ones of the year. There's probably about anywhere from 400 to 500 reenactors there every year. Have battles, tanks, all sorts of camp displays. So yeah, free, open to the public. If you're in the St. Louis area, come on out. It's an awesome time.
Yeah, it's a national cemetery. And if you've never been to a national cemetery, it's quite a neat thing to see.
Yeah, Jefferson Barracks is one of the oldest military bases in the Midwest, still active to this day. So I always think the actual cemetery is very cool. They actually have the final resting place for. I'm kind of a big history buff. For anybody that knows, Lieutenant Meehan from Easy Company, their commanding officer going into D-Day. That's the final resting place of his stick, his plane is at Jefferson Barracks. So that ton of other famous people are buried at Jefferson Barracks. But it's an awesome event, very cool facility. So
There's most national cemeteries are very interesting.
Mhm.
And while you're there, everybody go talk to the groundskeeper and see if you can help out on
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, if you have
Because
one within an hour, it's worth it to go out on Memorial Day.
Yep.
You'll get a humble experience.
Because Memorial Day is about those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Just as
Right.
a reminder, gang. It's not honoring those who are serving currently or those who have served. It's the ones that actually cash the check.
Yeah.
So
but it's a very rewarding experience. And last 2 years I haven't been able to do it, but see what happens this year.
Yep, especially when you go around and set the flags. We've done that, haven't we, Nick? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
1 foot out from your foot out from the headstone. You place it at your heel.
Yep. So, all right, gentlemen.
yep.
As they say,
On that note, keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the mill short bus.
Teach them shoot and reload when they're young.
Grandpa told me, don't listen to your mama. Violence does solve problems. And remember all the Second Amendment foundations out there, guys. The FPC, GOA,
SAF,
SAF.
your local state organizations.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a little kickback soon, okay? You're done paying your taxes for the year. Give them a little kickback now, and maybe we can get something going here.
Yeah, especially everybody pray for our brothers and sisters up in Washington State.
Yeah, they just got
hit hard today.
goat
So,
screwed again.
yep.
And the 6th district said that bump stocks are legal.
Yep. A separate note in Washington, if you are a listener in Washington State, Savage 1R the other day was talking on We Like Shooting about there is a law on the books that if someone in the legislature passes laws that infringe upon your constitutional rights, you can actually take them to court. If you are in Washington State, find out about this. And if you can, please do. Maybe if we can start taking some of these circus clowns to court and holding them personally responsible, they'll start thinking twice before doing this.
And
So-
do it individually, okay? In other words, get a group together, go to a lawyer, say file this suit, okay, but I want you to file it individually. Okay,
Yep.
all they gotta do is change name and your name and stuff and do it. And if you get a lawyer that will do 10 of you, it's a that's what you want. And if every gun owner got 10 people together and filed one in Washington, D.C., you'd see a lot of people beginning to say, uh-oh. So,
Yep.
any
All right, gang. If you're struggling, 1-800-273-8255 or 988 on your cellular devices. We want you here. We need you here. Reach out, get some help. It's important. It's huge. If somebody says something to you that has known you for a while and they say, "Hey, maybe I'm seeing this," or are you okay?" If you get people that know you and they start asking you, take it serious, because sometimes you don't realize it, and you need that person. And if you have someone in your life that you're noticing they're changing, ask them. So,
Mhm.
but
And if they reach out to you, don't turn away. Okay?
yeah,
Get them the help.
Yep.
You
We're
may
not
only,
saying
you may only have one chance, guys. Get them the help.
Yep. We're not saying that you personally need to talk them off the ledge, but direct them towards the help that they need.
Exactly. That's why they're reaching out. Okay. They need a little direction. So anyhow, good night, folks.
Good night. Thanks, folks.